What's going on, everybody? It is Mailbag Thursdays, Sang Lucci Mailbag here. You caught us in the middle of a discussion about taxes in Puerto Rico, about income taxes in Puerto Rico.
This is what we do on our downtime here, guys.
Yeah.
We think of ways to shelter investors without doing anything illegally, of course, because that's the name of the game, from taxes.
Yes, and FYI, I think the next Sang Lucci Loft, should be in Puerto Rico. And
it's
pretty
becoming
dope.
a serious discussion.
That's pretty dope.
There's a lot more sunshine in Puerto Rico than there is in New York.
I'll go to Jersey City. I'll go to Puerto Rico.
All right, guys. So we have the mailbag here. We are live. Yes, we are live. Let me pull up my questions here, guys. If you want to interact on Twitter and ask us anything whatsoever, go ahead and at Sang Lucci. Try to throw a pound Lucci mailbag after that too, if you can. And I'm more like wanting to yell at Greg right now because there's lack of a "we are alive right now" tweet.
Yeah. Well,
See? There it is. There it is.
There we go.
So he's actually doing something.
Of course.
All right. So let me pull this up here, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Well,
That Chipotle. I don't know. Sometimes this happens in the beginning.
Yeah, people just can't sign in.
Can't sign in or something, so I don't know if this happens. And then they come back in.
Word.
All right, guys. Chipotle was the big trade for the day. If any of you guys took a look at any of the options, any of the call options on Chipotle, you're talking about 5 to 10 times your money. The option that I had, it was a 5-10 call on Chipotle. I bought it at $1.50 yesterday. It went to $13 today. So that at like 8 and 10, but I only have like 20 contracts.
I don't know why. Just give it up. Just give it up.
Just shit size, man.
Bullshit.
All right, guys. So let's start taking questions here. We got the regular here, Faisal. Many trading books mention that opening hours are when retail traders trade, and the closing hours are when institutional traders trade. The suggestion that follows is that we should place trades during the closing hours to follow the institutional money flow. What are Sang's thoughts on this, and does he have specific times of the day when he trades and specific times when he avoids trading?
I saw bring in the good questions.
Yeah,
man.
these are great. That's a great question. That's a great question. And now let me throw this out there. Most of the trading books that you're reading, they take into account trends that are happening at that specific time. So if at that specific time it was mostly done or most of the activity, off the open was retail, while at the end of the day was institutional. Nowadays, what you're seeing is most of the activity from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, and then the rest of the day is pure shit.
Yeah.
It's garbage, So again, I will lump this up into the whole grain of salt theory. Or what is it? Grain of salt? Is that it? Take things with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
So any of you guys that are sitting there reading headlines on Market Watch, don't sit there and believe that because jobless claims were the worst in 2 years, that means the market is going to tank. That has nothing to do with each other. You have to look at the reaction.
Right.
So Faisal, I would step away from all of the common rhetoric that is being sold out there through books, through whoever. Look at the tape, assess the price action, and that's all you really need, So every time it's going to flow to different periods in time. And you have to be the one to find where that money flow is and find those best times. Right now, it's 9:30 to 10:30. And guess what, guys? When they make these moves happen from 9:30 to 10, you guys remember Apple a couple of days ago? The fucking thing ripped 10 points in 10 minutes, 15 minutes off the open, right? And think about it. Why would you do that? Because nobody wants to trade at 9:30. Nobody has that kind of confidence to just sit there and throw market orders at 9:30. So nobody's in the trade. Meanwhile, you just missed your move. You missed your move. And if you missed that, guess what? You're fishing around for calls, buying way up for the premium, and you're going to get fucking smoked because you missed that 10-minute period, right?
Yeah, anecdotally, guys, a lot of the losses that we see people take in the chat, and when people come to us and say, "Hey, this happened to me today. What do you think happened?" It's exactly what Lucci just said. They see the move happen in the morning off the first 30 minutes, right? And they're pissed at themselves, and they now they have a bias. Now they're not looking at things objectively. They're scanning for that move. They get in to later on they buy hoping that they're going to catch in for the next leg of it. and the market makers are just waiting there to rip their faces off.
Waiting there. They're like, ha, look at you. I'll sell you.
It's clockwork.
I'll sell you this shit all day long, and I'll sell you it at $4, $5, $6, whatever you want, and that option is going to go to $1 before that thing comes back.
If you're going to trade the move off the open, you need to trade the move off the open. If not, if you miss it, you need to accept that, and you just need to then look at the markets as what they are, which is not off the open. It's a different type of market.
So we got another question here from Rustu Yusef. It's quite a name.
Yeah.
He says he starts by saying, "How are you?" That's very nice of him. We don't get that.
We're doing quite well, Russ.
We get no respect over here.
I know, right?
We go right into questions.
I know.
We get no love.
Walking all over us.
I am really enjoying your daily twits and web blogs. I would like to ask you a specific question regarding option markets in my country. I can only buy call and puts for options here in the market, and they are generally out of the money with 2 months expiration date when they are released. I don't know how to develop a strategy with these conditions. Only thing I can do is just watch and invest when it is get in the money range with 1 to 2 weeks left to expiration. Of course, if it goes up 2 to 3 days consecutively, I buy puts, vice versa. Do you have any ideas or strategy to offer? I appreciate what you're doing, and keep up the good work. Okay, so, I mean, you're in a situation where you almost need to become more of a swing trader, just because you are constrained by not being afforded the ability to make these sort of day trades with 2 months out. But honestly, even if they're 2 months out, that shouldn't prevent you from making any kind of plays if you see a big move happening in a particular stock. So I don't know if there's something that I'm missing here, Charlie. What am I missing?
No, I think you're right. I mean, it sounds like if you're playing essentially only monthlies, you're not going to get the kind of volatility in the moves that unless you're right in your expiration.
You know what you need to do? Stop. I guess the desire to pull out sort of that big money trade with a couple of weeks left to expiration and only trading when there's 1 to 2 weeks left to expiration. Get rid of that theory. You got to be okay with 20%. You got to be okay with 10%.
Right.
If you can't pull 100% because you don't have a weekly, you still have to work with what you got. And there's still moves happening all over the place. So I don't think you should change what you're doing, or as far as finding a new strategy, because you don't want to mess with an option that has a 2-month expiration, and you want something that only has a couple of weeklies. So I think that's my thing there.
Agreed.
All right, so we got the chili farmer. He came. He was here.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting my license so I can trade for a proprietary trading firm. Have you taken this Series 5-6? If so, how hard is the exam, and how long did you study for it? Why would you even want him? He didn't take the 5-6.
No, but he loves the brokerage game, the licensing game, whatever you're going to call it.
So how long did you study for it? Any advice on studying? Also, what are the benefits of being licensed? Any pros and cons? Here's what I want to say about the Series 5-6. It is essentially useless. It is essentially useless. If you're going to take the 5-6, take the fucking 7. Take the fucking 7. You can use the 7 for your proprietary trading, and you can also use it just in case you end up needing it for becoming a broker, doing all kinds of other things, okay?
Yeah.
You can use the 7 in a lot more ways than you can with 5-6. The 5-6 is simply for prop trading. It's simply for prop trading. It is useless. It is fucking useless, okay? And they only did it because, again, regulations had to come down on the proprietary trading world. There was no regulations in this particular environment. Yet they had access to a lot of the technology and the tools that the institutions did, okay? And as well as leverage. Guys, there was prop firms that would lever you up 100 times your money. Sometimes even more. I was there.
Yeah.
I had a $5,000 deposit, and they gave me $2, $3 million, $4 million in buying power to trade.
Imagine, guys.
You know what I'm saying?
A young Lucci who is not worldly, has not been given the experience that he has now in the learning.
Imagine
plopping down $2 million in front of a guy like that.
Imagine, that's ridiculous. That's
crazy.
Ridiculous.
Well, plus, and that's why a lot of these guys, the firms, prop firms, they're closing down. They're getting squeezed out. I mean, the SEC guys does not really like the idea of prop trading and prop firms, right?
Yes.
Especially in the form that they have taken in the last, up until probably the last 2 years ago. So they're pretty much doing everything they can to squeeze them out, which is even another argument to say, if you're going to get your 56, go the extra mile, get the 7.
Absolutely.
There are downsides for having a license. You know,
there's increased compliance things that you
absolutely.
have to deal with.
There's certain things you absolutely cannot do.
And this was why proprietary trading, before all the regulations came down, it was like this haven, man. Because you could get all this leverage. Nobody knew what the fuck. Nobody gave a shit what you were doing.
Right.
Nobody gave a damn what you were doing, and you didn't have to get licensed. There was no compliance. You could do whatever you wanted.
Which is baffling.
And then it became a shitty business model, because now it's very difficult to make a profitable trader. Think about it.
Right.
You run a prop firm, you got to make profitable traders here. Otherwise, you're going to have too much attrition. They're not going to pay you out in commissions because you got to keep rolling into these new people. Well, they're not going to trade volume. So how are you going to make any money?
Plus, there's been the race to zero in terms of commissions too.
Exactly.
I mean, guys, prop firms used to. It used to be easier to make a profitable trader, right? The markets were easier to trade. B,
$24 per 1,000 shares. That's what it was when like way back, like 10, 15 years ago.
Right. And now
$24 per 1,000 shares.
I don't even know shares.
Now it's fractions of pennies.
Right.
Per 1,000 shares.
So guys, the prop firms used to really not even care. A lot of them didn't care. I mean, of course, there was elite ones that train people, and I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about, a lot of the prop firms out there that just made money off the volume that people traded, right? So when commissions started plummeting, obviously their margins got squeezed. Their model it's gone. Right.
So what's happening right now in the proprietary trading world is that they'd rather back traders who have some kind of a track record. They don't want to mess. It's no longer profitable to take somebody who's brand new and make him a profitable trader, because in this particular environment, they can't fucking do it.
Right.
They can't do it. The strategies aren't working. Everybody is moving towards even Forex now. I see everybody moving to. Everybody's moving to futures.
Options.
People are moving to options.
People are getting out of equities.
So,
equities are just very, very, very hard to make it in.
So, Chili, my advice to you for trading for a prop firm, man, is that make sure you do your due diligence on this prop firm.
Yes.
I would say that first and foremost.
They are not all created equal.
Exactly, because the ones that the regulations hit were the ones that worked on pooled accounting, and the ones that had no designation here from that money. So basically what it means is that everybody put in their cash, and then all the leverage came out from this one account, right? And if one person blew up, it would affect the whole firm. And that's what happened to my firm. My firm blew up. So all the mom and pop shops are getting chewed up by the major players out here. You got your WTS, you got your Avatars, you got your T3s, and they're all getting chewed. They're all getting chewed right up.
And a lot of them too a lot of the major firms are switching to hedge funds. It's not. So you really instead of I think what we're sort of saying is, instead of focusing on just the concept of should I trade at a prop firm, you need to be more granular with it. You need to say, identify what firm would I actually be trading with, and then identify what am I actually going to get from these guys, what is their model, what's their track record, if I talk to anybody who's traded there, because prop firms are not commodities. They're different. Everyone is different, and you can't just kind of make a generalization about your experience.
Right. Anyone who's just joining us too, if you guys got any questions, make sure you just hit us up on Twitter, and we'll take them on Twitter.
I like this.
We got Q Million, my boy Q. Traders with kids. If your child wishes to purchase or pursue the financial markets, do you allow them to take the Sang Lucci course before they even look, or is being told that they have a trading account? What? I gotta teach you how to write, man. I gotta teach you. Throw money into an account and allow them to try it out. Has your kid even given you a hot tip? Everyone in school has it. Have they discovered your Twitter account and said, hey, you made X, Y? I think these are all ideas for your kid. I think you should take this one, because I don't even know what this man is saying.
I mean, I think the general question is, A, if your kid wanted to trade, would you let her or him trade? And B, so let's say the answer is yes. What would the process be? How would you say, okay, you got to learn first and then you get experience, or are you saying you got to trade first, take your licks, and then I'll start teaching you? So I mean, if Imani wanted to trade?
I'd be like, hell no.
Hell no. You wouldn't let her do it.
I wouldn't let her do it.
Because just the life is so.
I wouldn't let her do it, man. It's too stressful, bro. It's too stressful. But you know what? I have a feeling like she'll gravitate towards something that is that stressful anyway.
Right.
Because that's just she has
She's
my
a high intensity person.
Yeah, she's very intense.
Well, and here's the thing. As a trader, like traders are going to do what they want. If a trader wants to trade, they're going to do it.
They're going to do it.
So if once you learned about the concept of trading, and then someone said to you, you can't trade, you would have been like, I'm fucking trading. Like it's one of those things where it's like, I think in certain ways you can't fight it.
You can't fight it. Yeah, you can't fight it. So if in the instance that she did want to trade, I mean, of course, she's. I mean, you take it as the same thing, right? You have the athletes who their kids.
That's what I was just thinking about.
Become superstar athletes.
I grew up with.
And you got your father. You got your father who was in the world anyway, and you're in the world. Now, you might have a different piece of it, but you're still in the fucking world. You're still drawn to the world.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
In a way you don't even think about. You're not even aware of it. Like for me, it was doing something entrepreneurial and doing something related, somehow related to finance was so ingrained in my perspective that when I thought about the fact that I could have often, done some weird alternative, I didn't even think about it. So, and I think about like Steffi Graf and Andre Agassi's kid.
Right.
I mean, the question is, are you going to pressure your kid? I don't think any traders out there would really pressure their kids to be traders because they know how tough it is. But I think I think a lot of you could there's certainly things that as a trader, parent, you could help your kid out with, right? And maybe that's what he's asking. It's like, how would you help? How would you guide your kid into becoming a trader?
I would totally set up a plan for her.
What would that plan entail?
The plan would entail like very light playing with real money.
Right.
And her buying stuff and I think Q alluded to it already, like her buying stuff that she felt passionate about. So if her thing was like clothes or some shit like that. Yeah. Hold on. If your thing was like if her thing was clothes, I'd be like, all right, just buy that stock.
Right.
Just so she gets the feel of it and so she gets curious. Right. If she's curious enough and she's like digging for the information, then I know she's for real, and then I'll take it to the next step. Because I don't want to. You know what I mean? You can't throw something out there, and you can't put this girl in a class if she's not going to fucking do anything with it.
Well, and I think for you also, you would probably focus a lot on teaching her like the know thyself sort of approach, right? Because it's like if you're a parent, it's kind of a good excuse to force your kid to really understand themselves, their identity, learn how to control their emotions and stuff. Like a lot of people talk about trading as a means to the end of self-mastery, right? That is really what is required to be a good trader, right? So, what do you got?
Apparently, the Peter Zhang
the CIO of the executing firm that we're working with, right? Super volatility head, like he knows everything about vol.
Right.
And he says his daughter is, I think she's 13.
Okay.
So apparently, when he talks about vol on the phone, and he finishes, she comes up and says, "Daddy, you're wrong." And she goes in and lays in on him on it.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
She knows she came up with this arb trade on between options and stock.
Okay.
And Big Daddy gave her $250,000. Guess how much she's made in 4 years? Take a guess.
$1 million.
She's at $1 million on her account right now.
Amazing, dude.
Real money.
Amazing.
I mean, come on. It's
just her trade, right? I mean,
it's just her trade. She lost like $50,000-$60,000 right to start off.
Yeah.
And she was like, I fucked up on the model, and then she went back.
She's 13.
She's 13. So she's been doing it since
she's
like 8.
She's a prodigy. If my kid's a prodigy like that, then yeah, I'm fucking putting money in front of them.
This alludes back to what Ezra and I were talking about yesterday. When you have a group of people that start out trading with strategies per se and thinking without risk. How do I make money without risk?
Right.
And they immediately come into the market building strategies like this versus the emotional trading, which I started out as, and most other people started out as, because the ability to get into algos and things like that wasn't readily available. It wasn't there.
Right.
The knowledge wasn't there.
So coming out with a systematic approach.
So when you have kids like this, it's the same thing with kids being these computer whizzes and they can hack the freaking world.
Right.
It's because they were just introduced to this at an early age, and that's how they think.
Right.
So for me to think like that and completely shift around and change the way I think to do something like that,
Right.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. We got one more question, and then we're off.
Binary
What
options.
is your opinion on binary options? Can investors find success trading these financial products? Guys,
Bonded.
binary...
Bonded trucks get into
Bonded.
bonded where? Sorry, guys. Sorry.
If you didn't know, that was a line from one of our favorite movies.
Blue Streak.
Blue Streak, baby. Blue Streak.
Then your life's in shape.
The shit should have won a goddamn Golden Globe. Man.
Easily.
Wait, that was for TV. Golden Globes is TV?
No, that's right. Golden
That's
Globe.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so binary options, guys. It's very slow. You got to realize it's extremely slow. So if you want more consistency, if you want less volatility on your P&L and things like that, defined risk, yes, then binary options would be a possibility for you.
That shit's mad fake too. Be careful. Binary options. It's really hard to find a real executing broker for binary options.
For binary options,
There were
yes.
scams like last year and the year before. They were like miniature MF Globals, pretty much with binary options. So
And by the way, the people at MF Global now finally have just gotten made whole, and I think that's been
they were made whole.
Really?
I thought most of the investors are now whole, I believe.
Right.
And it's been what, 3 years, maybe 4 years. I don't know.
Okay, so we're gonna do some rapid fire questions just
Yeah.
off Twitter. real quick.
Johnny Trades here at Johnny Trades 1 asking a question that we answered on Tuesday. This motherfucker clearly just loves to annoy the shit out of me. Where is the gang moving to? No one has said where. I mean, how many times are we going to say this?
He's going to Boston. He's going to New Haven. That's where the quant office is going to be. I'm living in Brooklyn. We're getting a new office space in New York. So Sang Lucci will be in Boston, New Haven, and headquartered in New York.
Think about that we're expanding. We're just doing away with the current fancy stuff.
Right.
And we're going to get some more fancy stuff.
Right, we're going to get a loft in Puerto Rico.
We're going to get a lot of
Apparently we're getting a lot
We're
more.
getting a loft in
But
Puerto Rico.
that's
This is
for
my
actual work purposes.
I mean, that's debatable.
Right.
Oh, God.
That's debatable.
All right.
Half and half.
What sort of license? This is from @Nokuma. What sort of licensing or credentials did you have to get yourself in order to manage your fund? We are not licensed. We are not registered investment advisors. We fall under an exemption, which an SEC exemption. So
It's under 50 million, right? Then you don't have to.
yeah, you have to be under 50 million. There's a couple other qualifications you have to meet. So we don't have any licenses. That's pretty common for funds our size. Credentials, experience,
That's all it is.
ability, track record,
And things
stuff
like that. That's
yeah.
all it is. So to further answer your question here, I mean, anybody can essentially start a hedge fund here. Anybody can do it. You do need to make sure you're lawyered up, though.
Yes,
that's one thing. Because guys, you're traders here. You don't know shit about legal stuff, all right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that you really need to make sure you take care of. As we can see today, the AG is going after. Is hyper going after HFT?
Guys.
He's AG cycles through. So you'll see AG talking about this, and this, and then he'll come back and say, okay, this is HFT dilemma, and here's the schedule for cracking down. He's talking about cracking down on people in summer, but again, what AG should be careful of. Actually, I'm not even going to say what AG. Never mind.
All right. Yeah.
So to further on that, again, make sure you're lawyered up. If you do want to start your own hedge fund at some point.
Yeah, guys, it's not like you just walk into someone's office and you say, hey, can you give me a check for $25,000? You have to have private placement memorandum, subscription documents, limited partnership agreement. You have to have the documentation to make sure that everything is completely legal. There's a lot of compliance, oversight, blue sky filings you have to do. You're running a hedge fund. It's not nearly as hard as it used to be, but it is a serious thing. You don't just do it lightly, that's for sure, because you take on a lot of risk. Investors lose money, they can sue you. It happens every single day.
Yeah.
So
pretty scary stuff too. So make sure you're lawyered up.
Yeah.
All right. That's. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday for Sang Lucci.
Sang Lucci TV. Sang Lucci TV.
Sang Lucci TV on Tuesdays, and we are moving out.
End of next week, guys.
This weekend we got graduation parties. We got a whole lot of nonsense.
I'll be in LA.
I'm gonna get it in before we leave.
I don't know how the guy's still alive right now at this point. Have a great weekend, guys. Have a good Memorial Day weekend. Talk to you soon.